Every week, players gather at their local game stores. They trade, and they battle valiantly for both fun and glory. But amidst their triumph, only two will make it to the finals to fight. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Final Fights, and tonight we've got Doflamingo versus Shanks. Both players are currently 3-0 in our my local event here. I unfortunately did not do too hot in this event, but anyways, we're gonna see Dofi ended up taking the play, which is exactly what Dofi wants to be doing, especially basically in any matchup, right? Dofi being able to see the play and being able to see Perona on one, and then the Teach on two. This could be a very, very fast game for the Dofi. We do see the Teach already in hand, a pretty solid hand. Also have a Gravity Blade in hand as well, and a Pudding. Pretty much everything you want to see against like Shanks' mid game here, as typically Shanks is going to try to leverage the Lucky Ruse right now to try to deal with most of Dofi's board, but we'll see what Dofi ends up doing. Plays out a Boa Hancock off of leader effect, and just gonna swing a big 8k. Gonna go ahead and take that one. Gonna go passing back to Shanks. Shanks, no searchers on one. Now, I don't know if this is the type of Shanks deck that runs things like, which I know a lot of decks have been cutting it, but we're gonna see the Lucky Roo on 4, and Dofi just taking a pretty simple 5k, and Dofi gonna go down to 4, and we're gonna see up on the 5 dawn turn. Likely we're gonna see another Teach come out here, maybe putting the Boa on top of the deck, and we're gonna start going to Swing City likely here, and we're gonna see what we can end up doing. Likely, if probably gonna commit the Boa first. No reason not to swing with it, especially into a Lucky Roo. We could just see a activation of leader effect plus a 2k, and looks like that's exactly what's happening here. We're gonna get the Teach coming out. Teach gonna slap 2 dawn on Dofi, gonna put the Boa back on top of the deck. Likely going to move that up to an 8k swing here, and going to go swing 8k leader effect, put the Boa out. It's going to go to 9k here. Going to look to the top 3, try to find something looking pretty nice. Got a Moria, a Jozu, and a Lol. Lol not so good in this matchup. Maybe if these Lucky Roos start piling up the board, but anyways, we're going to see a block on the leader swing and a KO of the Boa. Now, notably, Shanks leaving the Teach around here. I think, honestly, if I'm playing against Dofi, I think Teach is one of the biggest threats. Just so much advantage, so much power each turn to swing with. We're going to see a 7k swing. I think that's just going into lead. Actually going into Boa here, going to get a 2k counter. And then we're going to play another Lucky Roo. So Lucky Roo number 2 coming down. And maybe likely going to clean up the other Boa. It does incentivize Dofi to do some swinging now. Gotta make sure you untap those characters in that leader, and likely we're gonna see probably just another maybe 7k swing with the Boa. Could also maybe establish something. He does know what at least the top 2 cards of his deck are, but it looks like he's just gonna play out the Lol. Lol gonna be a nice little pickup to get rid of the Lucky Roo here. Send it back to hand, so now he doesn't have to worry about his things getting KO'd. We're gonna see a 6k go at lead. Could be a leader effect and a 1k. Just gonna get a 2k, and we're gonna swing 7. Activate here, put the Gecko Mori into play, grab out the Boa that's in the yard from last turn. We're going to swing a big 7k, and just going to take that there. No leader activation plus 2k for the Shanks here. So Shanks is down to 3. Shanks, not too much of a board here, but Shanks is only starting to build up here as they're moving into the 8 dawn turn. This could be a pretty good turn to play down something like a Rayleigh. To try to clean up some of this board here, could reduce one KO another. Likely could give like minus 3k to the Boa, could give minus 2k to like to the Lol, and then KO the Lol. It really stinks that the Teach is kind of likely no longer in the scope of his threat assessment, as there's just too many bodies on board that are just going to keep pushing damage. But Teach in itself, a bit of a menace, and I do wonder if Teach should have been gotten rid of earlier in the game. I could have definitely slowed down Dofi's tempo. But we're going to see a big activation here, minus 3 I believe on the Boa, minus 2 on the Lol. Take out the Lol. We're gonna see a 5k into a 3k going right now. We're gonna just let that go, and we're gonna pass back to Dofi's turn. Dofi, I don't think might have a Red Rock in hand. Does look like, yes, he does have a Red Rock in hand. Could Red Rock the Rayleigh, but might be saving that for a potential Shanks on this next turn, as Shanks ultimately is what's going to stymie a lot of Dofi's Dawn usage. A lot of the bodies are 5ks. Haven't seen any Weevils yet. Haven't seen We've seen like 2 boas. We've got a boa in hand as well. So definitely gonna have to start attaching Don to his characters if Shanks does end up coming out on this next turn. I think at this point that is kind of something that other than maybe another Rayleigh is what Shanks is kind of looking to do on this next turn. We're gonna see the boa come down. Boa's gonna look at the top 3. We see a fun little pick that a lot of Dofi decks have started to run now that they've lost Jinbei, and that is good old Kaido. I know a lot of decks ran that back in like OP08.5, OP08, OP08.5 kind of. A few decks were running like a 1 or 2 of Kaido, but Kaido could actually come out this game and do a little bit of drawing. He's already met the threshold. Shanks is already down to 3. And we're gonna see what Dofi decides to do. Gonna go ahead and swing 7k at lead here. This could force a leader activation plus a 2k here, or could just take it, but the no 2k usage on the last turn does lead me to believe that maybe he is a little short on 2ks. But just trying to calculate the other attacks. This is with the teach on board. That could be like a 10k swing with the Doflamingo here, but instead we're just gonna go for the 3k swing. We're gonna go for the 8k swing. So the plus 3k gonna play out the law here. Going to pass back to good old Shanks. Shanks down to 1. Not really where you want to be right now, especially staring down a bit of a board. You kind of want to play 12. You kind of want to play the big Shanks, just kind of force Doflamingo to start having to use his Dawn a little inefficiently, right? Gonna have to work a little bit harder to be able to start producing 7k swings for the Doflamingo deck if you do resolve a Shanks. Rayleigh also here might not be too bad. I do see a Rayleigh in the front of the hand. Could play the Rayleigh down. Likely just gonna have to do a similar play the last time, which is like a swing into one body, swing into another, like a minus KO, and then a minus, and then we're gonna see a 9k swing into the law, just really respecting Doflamingo to have counter, but Doflamingo not too much counter in hand right now. Looks like just a 2k, 1k right now in hand. A whole lot of events, and another boa still in hand. But we're gonna see another Rayleigh come down. Rayleigh likely just gonna pop the boa, give minus 2k to the Moria. Gonna swing into the Moria here, and try to clean it up. I think Dofi's thinking about potentially saving it. That is gonna be a whole lot of cards from hand, as it is a 2k difference. Gonna use 2k, 1k potentially, but we're gonna see an Uda come down with that extra Dawn here, and we do have an Uda. Uda likely looking for a Shanks here, as I think Shanks is kind of what this deck needs to continue to stay in. But a Lucky Rose is not too bad either, though we know the Dofi has a Gravity Blade in hand. Has had a Gravity Blade basically all game. I think that was in his opening hand. And this seems like the turn to play down the Kaido potentially. Not other than red rocking a Rayleigh, not too much to do this specific turn. Also has a Pudding in hand. Could red rock Pudding to try to really stymie the resources in Shanks' hand. Shanks' hand's getting pretty big right now. Shanks not really respecting the Pudding all game. But we'll see what Dofi ends up doing. Did almost set one aside to play the Perona, but I think maybe developing the Kaido. This might be the only window you can really effectively develop the Kaido. Right, still sitting at 4 life. Gonna be drawing quite a few cards here, which may be quite a few counter to try to stymie off some of these Rayleigh hits. But that big Kaido, he's going to be swinging for a lot on this next turn, and Shanks is already at 1, so I think Kaido might actually be the play here. Definitely think Kaido's the play. But we'll see what Dofi ends up doing here. Dofi agreeing, going to play the Kaido down, going to draw quite a few cards here. Nice little draw 4, and a good big 12k body on board. Did manage to pick up a bit of counter off of that. We're going to see a teach effect. Still able to allow them to push a nice little 7k swing here, and we'll see. I assume Shanks does not take this here, guys. So 2k with the leader activation shuts down the 7k swing, and we're gonna see what Shanks ends up doing here. That Kaido is very threatening here. Could make you got two routes here, and actually only one route, and it's kind of the blocker up at this point, because if you play the Shanks down, right, you can it's just really hard still, right? So you could swing Shanks, and then with the opponent countering out of this effect here, the opponent is still going to be at 2 life here, and you're very likely dead on this next turn. So I don't think Shanks is the play. I think the play is to go for blockers right now. And we know there's at least one Lucky Roo in hand right now. We're going to see a 6K go into lead here. And just so much counter drawn off that Kaido, which is really what Doflamingo wanted to see right now, as most of the hands already bricked. We're going to see 4 for a Lucky Roo. Okay, that's the one we knew was already in hand from the lull. And we know there's another one in the hand based off the Uda Searcher here. So we're going to play the second Lucky Roo. And Shanks feeling pretty confident right now. But we know there's a Gravity Blade sitting in Doflamingo's hand right now. And that Gravity Blade's been in his hand all game for just such a scenario like this one. And a Gravity Blade immediately coming to the top. You're going to see 7 Don split aside. We're going to see a Gravity Blade taking care of the 2 Lucky Roos. Shanks is not looking too hot right now. If those Lucky Roos had stuck around, this would have been a lot easier of a game for Shanks. But now it's a whole lot harder for Shanks. Going to see a Blackbeard activation. Blackbeard just doing work. Just continuing to allow Dofi to pressure Shanks every single turn, while also using quite a bit of Dawn to deal with things on board is really solid. And I think that's why I say, Teach is the big guy here. We're going to see 2K, 2K, 1K, and leader effect to get out of that big 10K swing. Notably not committing the Kaido just yet. Don't really need to do it just yet. Don't want to open it up for a potential Rayleigh swing. You've used a bit of counter. Dofi's kind of cognizant of how much counter they have in hand at this point. Used quite a bit of the counter. Looks like we got 2K, 1K, 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 1K. Something like that. Pretty solid. And we'll see what ends up happening here. Just gonna go for the trigger off that one. I think he put the red rock on top from the teach ability. That's pretty funny. Just a whole lot of 2Ks, 1Ks. It looks like the red rock came back to hand here, and we're gonna see 2K, 1K, 2K. Or sorry, 2K, 1K, 1K out of the AK swing. And we're going to see another Uda come down. Not exactly what you want to see this turn. Maybe fishing again for another blocker. I guess finding another Lucky Roo would be pretty solid here. But opponent does have the red rock, right, to get rid of another blocker to set themselves up. And that teach just making the red rock cost 2 less on. Incredibly strong. And we'll see what Shanks is able to pile together here. Does find a Lime Juice, so another 2K in hand, but Shanks' resources are starting to falter a little bit. Did have to use 3 cards to get out of his swing on the last turn, but we're seeing him down to at least, I think, 5 cards in hand now. And Dofi's still at 2 life. Not a good spot. The Kaido on the other side of the board definitely thirsting for lethal at this point. We're going to see a dragon come down. This is not the Lucky Roo we wanted for Christmas. We're going to see an activation or a on play. Going to give the leader 3 Dawn and swing 8K, and then going to swing probably a 9K here just to try to set Dofi down as far as it can. But now, if anything, this play here sets Dofi up to have to go for lethal at this point, which honestly shouldn't be that hard to attain at this point. With 3 bodies on board, 1 life, one of those bodies being a 12K. No need necessary for red rocking anything. Could just try to split. Now you do have to try to hope that Shanks doesn't have 5 2Ks, but honestly Shanks hasn't been playing this game like he has a whole lot of 2Ks. Definitely letting some hits through that maybe wouldn't have gone through otherwise. So we'll see what ends up happening here. I definitely think the Kaido swing should be saved for last here. Might just do you could do just like a poke with Teach, right? And maybe like a 7K or an 8K swing with Teach to try to work around leader ability to still require 2 cards. But we'll see here what he ends up doing. And notably, Teach's ability not really something that can be played this turn because you do need rested Dawn to attach. But thumbing 3 Dawn could just... Okay, gonna go with an 8K swing here. So I think we're gonna go... What, 8K, 10K, 12K? I think is the plan here. Just trying to work around Shanks' thresholds, right? To require at least 2 cards. We see leader effect plus 2K, 1K. 2 cards in hand. I think you can pretty much math that out at this point. Even to the degree that now that leader effect's been used, you can just go 9K swing. And we're just gonna take that one. No effect. Would have loved to see what, like a Gum Red Hawk trigger off the top, right? Give minus 10,000K to a character, but unfortunately no triggers off of life, and we see Dofi clean it up here. Shanks stumbled a bit in the early game. Unfortunately did not see what they needed to see in the late game. The 2 Rayleighs did come in pretty handy, But resolving a Kaido on board, pretty strong for the Doflamingo. And that finishes up the match. If you enjoy this type of content, definitely subscribe. We do Final Fights every Friday. And yeah, take it easy, everybody.